Fisherman's Post. More fish, more often.
Hello, everyone, and welcome once again to the Fisherman's Post Saltwater Podcast Series. This episode is titled Spring and Summer Gel Coat Care, and we're going to be featuring Shane Wall of Cape Fear Marine Detailing, and we've got a good list of topics. He's going to tell us first what happens to your boat over the wintertime. Then we're going to talk about oxidation, some DIY detailer tips, a conversation about sealants, and then how to best care for your boat after a detail, how to get the most out of that investment of a detail. My name is Gary Hurley of Fisherman's Post. Fisherman's Post has been serving the saltwater fishing community since 2003, bringing you fishing reports, fishing information, fishing tournaments, fishing schools, and here in our latest and greatest effort, the Fisherman's Post Saltwater Podcast, where we reach out to captain and guide friends from up and down the North Carolina coast and ask them to share their thoughts, their insights on how to catch more fish more often. Tonight, a special episode reaching out to an authority in the hull cleaning, gel coat care industry, take care of that boat to get ready for the new season. And in this endeavor, I am joined with my podcast partner, Billy Thorpe of Thorpe Creative. What's happening, Billy? Welcome to another show.
Hey, Gary, good to see you again, man. Always a pleasure. Excited about this show. I'm not going to make a joke that I say I don't have a boat. It doesn't matter, all that stuff. But I'm going to actually go to the joke of, hey, Gary, I bet this episode probably won't be helpful to you because much like your fishing career, you just have someone else do it for you. So
yeah, I didn't even know you clean boats. I thought you just get back to the dock and you shake the captain's hand and you tell him, you'll call him if you have any questions to finish the article, and then the boat magically just cleans itself. This is all new to me.
I know. So you're going to have revelation. You probably should do Gary's best takeaway instead of Billy's best takeaway because I probably know more about this than you do, and I don't even own a boat.
I actually have a little insight, but I'm going to be Shane's poster of what not to do. Don't you just bleach wash it all summer long and that's it? Like what?
You just
I don't
bring out
understand
your pressure
what's
washer and
complicated
have your kid do it. Don't you have a teenage kid that'll clean your boat for you? Why are you even talking about this?
Don't get me started on kids today.
Oh my gosh, we could go down a whole rabbit trail, but I won't. I'll bring us back to our sponsors. I want to shout out our sponsors really quickly here. We got Bland Landscaping Company. Bland reached out to us and they are looking for people to join their team, motivated people who enjoy the outdoors, who want to be home, get up early, go to work early, get home early, and be out there with their friends and their family in nature and on the boat and fishing and all that stuff. So we really appreciate Kurt and his team. Man, they reached out to us and said, we love the show and we want people in your community to come join our business. And they're really looking for career-minded people, Gary. So
I like that about it, man. I like that fit for the podcast, that they're actually looking for career-minded individuals. And in addition, like they look to incorporate the career into your life, not have their career take over your life. I think they've got a great approach, man. I hope they find some good quality out there. It makes sense. There's plenty of people out there that makes sense for.
Yeah, and they're a big company. They got a lot of benefits. I looked on the website and thought, you know what, if I retire out of the podcast business, I'm going over there. But landscaping is probably too much work for me. Let's just be real.
You can even remove probably from that sentence.
All right. And our next sponsor has been with us since episode number 5, Marine Warehouse Center. I get a quick message from them, and we'll be right back.
At Marine Warehouse, we have everything. We have new boats, we have parts, we have accessories, new trailers, we have a complete service department with highly trained technicians. Anything you need to get out on the water, we have it.
At Marine Warehouse Center, as we've grown over the last few years, now have a large selection of marine supplies from start to finish for all your boating needs.
What I love about this region is to be able to get out on the water, and also we love to be able to get you out on the water.
The best part of working at Marine Warehouse is being able to get involved with the customers and share a love for the water.
There you go, Gary. And if anybody's listening or watching and you have a little bit of FOMO at the end of this episode that you don't have a boat to detail, Marine Warehouse Center can take care of you. Just go see those guys in Wilmington and in the Charleston area, and they ship worldwide as well. So I just want to make sure I shout that out as well.
Yeah, good friends, Marine Warehouse Center. And, yeah, they take care of you, as we always state, man. They take care of the fishing boating community. They're part of the fishing boating community. So yeah, man, nothing like getting a boat and then and then signing up for Shane to get it detailed. Or you're industrious and you take what Shane shares tonight and you actually do it yourself. I mean, I would take it to Shane, but maybe you're the type that you would do it yourself. Good for you.
Yeah, if I bought a brand new boat, no way, I would take it to someone professional because I would screw it up. I'll do whatever you're not supposed to do, which we're going to learn tonight. So maybe I'll know better by the end of the episode. But till then, I'm going to share a little fish picture with you, Gary. This is Curtis Bailey with a 23-inch redfish caught on cut bait. He was fishing with Captain Chris Kimry of Mount Maker Charters out of Atlantic Beach. Good-looking hat and good-looking fish. I was going to cut more of the hat out, but I liked it, so I kept it and cut the tail of the redfish off, which was beautiful. So sorry about that. If you're watching, you didn't get to see the tail.
And, you know, I think another reason why that photo was selected is Captain Chris Kimry is smart enough to have a bait cutting board on the side of his boat and not use the side of his boat as a bait cutting board. And I don't know if Shane is going to mention that as a don't do, but I like that Chris knows it's a don't do. You don't cut that bait on the side of your boat. Have a simple cutting board.
Yeah, that's a pretty good pro tip. I didn't even see it. I'm actually going to go back and, oh yeah, there it is. That's pretty cool. All right, that's pretty neat. So if you are the owner or the manufacturer of that cutting board and you want to be a sponsor of the show, well, call us or email Billy at Fisherman's Post if you're interested in sponsorship. And then also if you want to buy Gary a coffee because he's looking a little sleepy, go to buymeacoffee.com/Fisherman's Post and support Gary and I as creators because we're so creative and fun.
Hey, and speaking of cleaning, I've got a Terrell joke.
Oh, I forget all about the Terrell joke. See me just blasting through. Go for it. I'm excited about the Terrell joke.
And it is. I mean, this joke is about cleaning. So here we go. Terrell's joke, Terrell of Marine Warehouse Center's joke, not mine, to be clear. Here you go. What detergent do fishermen use?
He's tied.
Damn it. You know, I was actually thinking Billy is a great sidekick because even when it seems like an obvious answer, whether he doesn't know the answer or not, he just doesn't say the answer. And I just had that thought, and then look at you. You just ruined it.
I'm on fire.
You just ruined the joke.
I'm on fire during this recording. I love it. What other questions you got, Gary? You know what? I'll just do the interview. We'll put Shane away. I can probably tell you.
All right, Gary's best takeaway. Wake me up. 40 minutes.
All right, man. I'll let you guys get to talking about cleaning and all that fun stuff.
Yeah, man, it's my pleasure to introduce to the show Shane Wall, Cape Fear Marine Detailing here in the Wilmington, Wrightsville Beach area, spring and summer gel coat care. Welcome to the show, Shane. I very much appreciate you making yourself available, going to share some knowledge with us.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Gary. I really appreciate it.
Well, man, you know, coming on the show, we always have two questions before we get to the main event, and I absolutely want to get to the main event. I do want to be smarter as in how to take better care of my boat, how to take better care of that investment. But before we get to the main event, we always have the two questions. You let me know you're ready, and I'll give you question number one.
Yeah, I'm ready.
Question number one. So why should we listen to anything you have to say about taking care of a boat, about gel coat care? Why?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think that the first thing is, the amount of time I've spent on a buffing wheel and, with the scrub brush in my hand. I've been detailing since 2017. I did a brief stint right after college in 2014. Ended up moving to California, came back and went straight into detailing for a dealership in town. I've learned from some really great detailers. I started out detailing full time for about 2 years. And then just working for another company, the money wasn't there. Just trying to do what was best for my career. I took a job actually at the dealership in sales, and ended up transitioning into financing. But throughout that process, I was doing detailing as supplemental income the entire time. As many boats as I could do, I was just working a ton. Once I kind of got through the office life, I realized that, I don't know, I'm just more of a person that likes to work with his hands. And I knew that I was really good at detailing and, not trying to toot my own horn, but I enjoy it. And I mean, that's what's most important to me. So I actually took a job in marine construction, working for a friend, because he was able to provide some flexibility, and that's allowed me to start my business. Really, in the last 6 months, I've started it and started taking it a lot more seriously, and it's Cape Fear Marine Detailing. And really, the starting of the business has really helped my work evolve. Learning from someone else at another company, you learn how to do things one way. And yeah, I'm definitely a perfectionist and like to do things as well as I can. So once I was freed up and doing things on my own, and really taking this really seriously, I started taking a deep dive into different products, different processes. I've got a couple great mentors. I mean, diving deep on YouTube, product manuals, all that. So yeah, that I think that sums it up.
Man, that's as solid as an answer as we get on this show. I like the journey, man. Well, question number 2, as tradition goes, is a non-topic related question. You tell me you're ready, I give you question number 2.
Yes, sir. Ready.
Well, paying attention to detail, the detailing trade and paying attention to detail reminds me of the Where's Waldo books. I hope you're familiar with the Where's Waldo books. So your question is this. I want you to guess. I'm guessing you don't know, so I'm going to ask you to guess. What's the world record for the largest gathering of people dressed as Waldo? It happened in Dublin in 2011. I'm even going to give you some choices. Did we have just over 2,000 people dressed up as Waldo, just under 4,000 people dressed up as Waldo, or just over 8,000 people dressed up as Waldo? World record, largest gathering.
I'm gonna go big with 8,000.
Well, it was about half that. It was just under 4,000, Dublin, Ireland, 2011. What a weird detail to have that many Waldos. But enough of our non-topic question. I love when you set in. I love the way you wanted to start this podcast, your podcast out, and just letting us know, because that's certainly appropriate for this time period. What does happen to our boat over the winter? Like, what are we looking at? What do we need to battle when we start thinking again about the new season?
Yeah. So that's a great question, and it really depends on how you store your boat. Ideally, if you got deep pockets, you're storing your boat inside in a temperature controlled warehouse or your garage, where no sunlight's getting to it. Maybe you even have it covered in there so no dust is getting on it. So that's at one end of the spectrum. Another end of the spectrum is, you're under half of a shade tree, getting tons of sunlight on one part of your boat and getting, live oak leaves dropping all over your non-skid and smooth gel coat. And your boat is just getting tattered with UV rays, and gel coat's breaking down, and then you got hard to remove stains everywhere. So yeah, really it just depends on how meticulous you are in storing your boat. Biggest thing, the biggest enemy to your boat is the sunlight. I mean, salt is too, but really for your gel coat, I mean, I think more than anything else, the sunlight is tough on the boat, and especially here with the amount of heat that we have, versus like somewhere, I don't know, in the Great Lakes or, the Northeast, like the amount of energy we get from the sun really does a number on your gel coat. So, yeah, you might say, your boat's uncovered, you go out to your driveway. It's, the first time you really looked at your boat, if you're not really anal about upkeep, it's the first time you really like thought about it all season, you're getting ready to take it out. And you rub your fingers down the gel coat, and you look, you got the classic chalk on there. That means that the sun and the oxygen, I'm not a scientist, but it's interacted with the gel coat. I guess it's stolen some electrons. That's what I've read. And make sure gel coat really brittle and turns it into a fine powder. And then gel coat is really porous, and that powder finds its way into all the pores. And yeah, that's when you gotta either know what you're doing or call a detailer in town.
So climate controlled environment, you're right. There's few of us that have the ability, means, whatever, for climate controlled. So if we are storing it outside, I mean, buying a cover, a huge advantage, a medium advantage?
I think it's a really, really big advantage for your top side. Like I said, sunlight is your worst enemy. And like, I mean, just to illustrate that, go onto any boat that's, well worn, 15-year-old boat that's only been waxed a couple times, and open up the compartments. I mean, take like a Grady or a Parker that, typically has that creamy color when you buy it new. If you open up the compartments and there's smooth gel coat inside of the compartments, typically they're going to be, still have that glossy, creamy color. They're going to feel really smooth. And then, the rims of the compartment, wherever the sun is, it's going to be all broken down and chalky. So, I mean, I really think I'm a big proponent of covers, for if you really are serious about wanting to keep your gel coat in good condition.
So I guess what we do next depends on the level of care it needs or the level of even repair it needs. And so how do we determine, we being a boat owner, like this is something that I can reasonably expect to bring back myself, or, hey, this is a serious, maybe I just need someone at least at the beginning of the season to bring me back to my best starting point.
Yeah. So, using your eyes and your, sense of touch is really the two biggest things when you're assessing your gel coat. I'm going to talk mostly about gel coat here. Just cleaning, is a little bit easier. It's a little more user friendly. You do have to know the cleaning products, and we can talk about that if you want, but I'm going to focus mostly on gel coat. So first thing I do when I get to a boat and I'm, going to quote it or, just assessing what it needs is I try to see if there's a reflection in the boat. So just the sun doesn't lie. In any of my Instagram posts, I've been putting hashtag can't hide from the sun. So if you're looking in even if it feels like, let's say you touch the gel coat and it feels still pretty smooth. If you look down it from one angle, it still looks pretty, pretty glossy, good shine. That doesn't mean it doesn't have oxidation on it. It's probably light oxidation, but if you find the sun's reflection in the gel coat and it's not a perfect disc, like if it's hazy looking, if it's orange, or maybe you're not getting any direct reflection at all. I mean, that's worst case scenario. So break down, let's say, break down kind of how if you need to wet sand it, how if you need to compound it, how if it's just a polish, or best case you just need to wax it. So first thing, wet sanding. Generally, if you're rubbing your fingers down the smooth gel coat and you can hear it, if it feels like a sandpaper almost, and you can hear. I'm sorry, I'm getting a little. Siri just was activated on my computer. Okay, I think I'm good. But yeah, if you can hear your fingers going across the gel coat and you look at them and they have chalk on them, typically that means it's going to be hard to get away with just compounding. You definitely can do 4 rounds of compounding and put a ton of stress on your buffer, but chalk and really rough texture is a good sign of wet sanding. Compounding, heavy cutting, there might be a little bit of texture, but your gel coat's still going to be pretty smooth. If you were to find the reflection in the boat, you're going to have significant haze. Like if you were to put your phone light up to it, or a detailing light, you won't be able to make out the individual bulbs. You'll just kind of see like just kind of a circle, a hazy circle. And in the sun, it might be kind of orange, or you might not be able to, really pick out a perfect circle shape. That's really what you're looking for, like a perfect circle in the sun's reflection. So if that's the case, a good compounding 1 or 2 rounds should help you out. Polish, if you still have a good bit of gloss on your boat, no texture, it's just really, really smooth like glass. but you see the sun's reflection and you see that orangey color, as opposed to, more of like a pure glass reflection. That typically means you're just going to need some light to medium polishing. And then best case scenario, and honestly, I've had a ton of customers, and we talk about this later, but come to me saying they just need a wax. And if your boat was undercover and indoors, the wax could have broken down a little bit over the winter. Then you might just need a wax. If that reflection looks perfect and there's perfect gloss, and covered indoors, you probably just need a wax. But I think that kind of covers. Am I making sense here?
Yo, man, I followed everything. So if I'm at the bottom of the sort of scale, then it's wet sanding. And can Joe Blow like me get reasonable results wet sanding, or is the risk that I'm actually going to mess up the gel coat high enough to where, of course, you want me to bring my boat to you and you make money and all that, but what about wet sanding? Is that something that reasonable to expect someone like me to do without messing up the gel coat?
I definitely wouldn't recommend it. If your boat's in that bad a shape, and let's say, it's a boat manufacturer or maybe it's just that boat in particular, they didn't spray a ton of gel coat on it. Your gel coat could be really thin. And it's pretty easy. Sanding, I mean, even for me now, I've done tons. I mean, I've done lots of sanding, and it's still a scary process because you can go through the gel coat, and you got to really do some inconspicuous test areas, and the gel coat thickness might not be the same throughout the whole boat. I mean, I think any detailer you talk to, can say that they probably sanded through some gel coat at some point. I mean, I've never done it, bad, but it happens. So yeah, I definitely recommend if you have that like really, really textured sandpaper feel on your gel coat, I would call someone for sure.
And then how do I know if I'm looking at, that's a great answer. I mean, I follow what you said. I'm not surprised at that answer. So then if I move up to compounding, so how is it that I would gauge like, hey, this is a 2 compound, or I mean, at one point you even said maybe you put some elbow into it and go 4 compound. Like, how do I know, like, once I've done a compound that I'm good, I don't need another round?
So I'm just going to go back to the reflection of the sun, or if you have a good detailing light. The reflection is everything. When a detailer, or I'm just speaking for myself here. When I'm looking at a boat, I'm definitely looking. I feel like I'm looking 10 feet into the gel coat. You know what I mean? I'm definitely looking at the gel coat completely different than the majority of my customers are looking. Some customers are really anal, and that, they'll look at the boat from 5 different angles, but it's really easy, like in photos, to make your boat look shiny, even if it's like really oxidized, just depending on, the angle that you're looking at the boat. If you look just straight down the gel coat, kind of like your eyesight's almost, your line of sight's parallel to it. It's easy to make it, to think that it's really, really shiny, and there's no oxidation there. But if you take a light and you kind of move it back and forth off the gel coat, I don't know, 2 feet, and it's a fairly bright light. Like I like, Larry lights are nice. I honestly use my phone flashlight a lot. You could spend over $100 on a sand grip detailing light if you want it. But just any good bright reflection. If you start to if you're using a light, if you can make out the hard lines around a bulb, like a light bulb, or if you see the sun and it's got like a crisp, it's a crisp circle. It's not hazy. It's not like, you're not like lighting up a big section on the boat. It's just, you can see a nice circle.
And so, that's good. I follow that. And then my follow-up would be, and again, not surprised that wet sanding is a risky endeavor. How risky is compounding?
I really don't think compounding is that risky. People talk about, putting deep swirls in the boat and stuff. And I mean, I feel like, for DIY detailers, like most of the time, people aren't putting enough pressure on their buffer. I mean, I've leaned into boats really, really hard, quite a bit with a buffer. And I mean, if the boat's really old, and the gel coat is already extremely eaten out and porous, yes, you can buff through, but I mean, you're not gonna get through the oxidation on a boat like that anyway, you know. So I mean, I don't think the risk is too bad with compounding, and once you put swirls in the boat, that's what polish is for.
Okay. So I'm not quite sure. I mean, those were my follow-up conversations from sort of the levels you said about what to look for and what the application method would be. So I'm going to just defer to you and say, so now where do we go with this conversation? Now how can I best benefit from what you have to share?
Yeah. So I was just planning on going over just a couple DIY detailing tips. Machines, and there's so much information out there. It's like it's like nutrition. It's like you can be pulled in 20 different directions. This diet, that diet, no diet, whatever. There's 100 different pads out there. There's 100 different products. So I just want to kind of break down what I know, what works for me. And yeah, I think a good starting place is, we went over assessing your boat, but if you were to buy one machine for detailing, for taking care of your gel coat, what would that be? In my opinion, a rotary buffer, a variable speed rotary buffer. You'll see a lot of people out there who may have detailed their car's paint, or just went out and bought, a cheap dual action Harbor Freight buffer. And if you just need to do some polishing, you can get away with that. But really, like, gel coat is so much harder than, and even marine paint is so much harder than like the clear coat of a car paint. Like, you really need an aggressive, like, I like Dual. Makita makes a great one. You can go to Harbor Freight and get one for, I mean, I don't know. I haven't had a Harbor Freight one, but I assume under $100 there. But that's my number one machine. Get a rotary variable speed buffer.
I like that. I mean, that was a question I was going to ask is, what do I need to sort of have in the garage for when I'm ready to do this annually? And so what else? I mean, this is perfect. I like this section about DIY tips, man. So a variable speed buffer.
Right. So next thing you got to think of for gel coat care is let me go back just a second. Because one thing I didn't say is, when you are going to buff your boat, something that is neglected is you really need to clean the gel coat, because the oxidation is built up in the pores. So and when you have a really heavily oxidized boat, it's okay to use a more aggressive soap. So I like using like Dawn dish soap, mixed with water, and really trying to get in there and removing all the oxidation that I can, all that white chalk, because when you're buffing on top of that, it's just going to be another barrier. It's just, you're trying to rip all that out with the compound and the polish. But that is a good first step. So, okay, that was my little segue. Now back to the machine. Once you have a machine, you got to think about pads. And like I was saying before, there's 100,000 different pads out there. But really, the two biggest ones that you want to think about are, I like double-sided, but a wool cutting pad. 3M makes a great one. They're a little bit pricey. I feel like they hold up really well, but like Buff and Shine makes a cheaper one. There's tons of companies out there. And then a wool or synthetic polishing pad. Again, same thing. 3M makes a really good one. Pressed, Buff and Shine, tons of companies out there. But those two pads are your biggest ones. If you want to get, really into a perfect, no swirl, no nothing, no hologram finish, you can get into some foam pads. But two pads, wool and wool cutting pad and wool polishing pad. I really like the double-sided because once you burn one side out, the other one, you just flip it right over and you got another one waiting for you.
Gotcha.
So
Right on. I'm following along. This is all sage advice. I'm ready for number one. I'm ready for the next tip.
okay, yeah. So next tip, obviously, honestly, it's really important to have a good quality set of rags, and I mean, buy a bunch of them, because as you're wiping product off your boat, your rags will start to get caked with compound polish, wax, or whatever, and then they're not really doing the job. And there's also like some value. I mean, you can look videos up on this, but how you fold the rag in your hands, like to maximize the life of the rag. I fold it into squares. You use one surface, and then once it kind of starts getting a little bit caked, then I'll flip it around, use the other side, and you end up having 8 mini rags in one because you're folding it in quarters. You can use both sides. So I think that's a kind of valuable overlooked tip. You're not just bunching the rag up and just getting all chaotic with it. And then you got to start thinking about, this kind of nice segue into the whole next topic, and something I've been kind of diving deep into lately. You got to pick your sealants. So yeah, I think that's a good.
So let's go to sealants, man. I know little to nothing about it, so I definitely want to hear what you have to share.
Yeah. So yeah, everybody comes up to you as a detailer, comes up to me and, I just need a good wax. And that's a common misconception, I mean, like very, very common. People think, they got gel coat that's in okay condition, but there's some oxidation there. They think that if they put some wax on it, it's going to bring back out the shine and it's going to, solve all your gel coat's issues. But it's really, really important before you put sealants on the boat to remove the oxidation and, start to kind of cut out some of the pitting, some of the porosity in the gel coat. Because I mean, with wax, definitely with polymer sealants and like ceramic coatings in particular, you start to wipe the wax on, and when you wipe it off, you'll notice that there's streaks left behind. And my interpretation of that is the porosity is so aggressive on the gel coat that the wax is kind of getting caught behind in the little pits, and you can't wipe enough of the product off, so you're left with this terrible streaky look. And if you don't look at it in the right light or the right angle, it might look like you shine it up a little bit. But again, the sun doesn't lie. You can't hide from the sun. If you look directly into a light or the sun's reflection, you're going to see the streaks, and it's not going to look good. But back to what sealants there are out there, as far as like the different types of sealants and their pros and cons. First one is wax. Everybody knows I think it's carnauba wax. I honestly never looked into how to pronounce that, but I think it's carnauba wax. That's the most common thing. So like your Cullinite, 3M makes a wax. Some auto waxes are pretty good for marine as well. They don't really hold up as good though. But pros for waxes, they're generally, compared to polymer sealants and ceramic coatings, they're really easy to apply. You do need to work it into the surface a little bit, but they're pretty easy to apply, and they're a lot easier to wipe off than other synthetic products that actually kind of cure and have a stronger bond on your surface. So that's the biggest pro for me. Cons, longevity. In our environment, with a lot of heat and sunlight, some waxes will claim 6 months, but really like in aggressive direct sunlight, if you're putting a wax on, and especially not everybody takes care of their gel coat the right way, especially if you're not taking care of it. You could strip that wax in 1 or 2 washes if you're not doing it properly and not using the right chemicals. And I mean, I think max, even if you're using a really like a wax with a high level of carnauba in it, or like a paste wax, you're still, 2 to 3 months is probably all you're going to get. So that's kind of the drawbacks. It's really user friendly, but the protection, it's good, but you're going to be applying it, quarterly at least. And, and it's just not quite as protective as the next 2 options. Does that make sense?
I like this pro con approach. And so, yeah, man, I'm ready to hear about synthetic. I mean, I'm down with this. This is working for me.
Yeah, cool. So the next kind of step up here, and this is really what I've been getting into using more consistently, is polymer sealants. When I learned to detail, I was just taught one way. We just used one set of products, and I was using a lot of Culinite and a couple other different wax products, and it all worked great, but working for somebody else, I didn't, really dive into the research. It wasn't my company. And, since doing stuff on my own, being the sole person responsible for the job, I want to know what's absolutely best on people's gel coat. And, as far as an affordable sealant, polymer sealants are the way to go. So, I like using rejects. What else? Jescars makes a good product. Stark Yacht Care makes a good product. And they are a little bit more difficult to apply. A lot of them are best put on with or applied with like a polisher, like a dual action polisher, and you use just like a finishing pad, so really soft, not no cut whatsoever, and you work it into the surface for a little while, and then there's kind of a curing process. A lot of them you have to wait, maybe 3 minutes, maybe 5 minutes, some up to like 15 or 30 minutes. You kind of wait for the product to cure, and then you can wipe it off. Some drawbacks there, it's a little bit more difficult to apply, and it's definitely more difficult to wipe off. And by more difficult, you're just wiping something off. It's not like a crazy, it's not rocket science, but you're going to put a lot more elbow grease into it. You got to go over the same spot quite a few times. It's a lot easier to miss some stuff. So you really got to, be looking deep into your gel coat and covering every square inch to make sure, you're not leaving any material behind. But where polymer sealants shine, no pun intended there, are their longevity. A polymer sealant, if you're taking care of it, should last you, an entire season. It should last you around 6 months. They're not indestructible by any means, but if you're taking good care of it, you're washing it, regularly, you're not beating it up with degreaser and other harsh chemicals like you talked about earlier, just bleach bath in your boat. Polymer sealants are great. Same shine that the wax provides, but just last a whole lot longer.
And so I'm going to guess that ceramic is harder to apply yet, more expensive to apply, but even longer than 6 months.
Yeah, definitely. So, ceramic coating, I've noticed it's started, blow up in the boating world. It's been around for a long time. It's been around since the 70s, but it just never really caught on. Ceramic coating, I'll start with the pros. You're going to get, depending on your product, and definitely not all products are created equal. You're going to get anywhere from, I mean, in my opinion, 18 months to 2 years if you're taking care of it properly. Some companies will, they'll say 3 years, and and if they got a product that's less than 3 years, that's great. But in my opinion, I think with the harsh marine environment, I never promise more than 18 months to 2 years. Based on the products that I'm using. So longevity is big. The whole reason you're putting a sealant on your gel coat is to protect from oxidation. You're protecting your investment, and ceramic coating is like the elite way to, it's the creme de la creme of protecting your gel coat. Another thing that does really good is it makes cleaning a lot easier. There's some people out there that, like some rumors that, you basically never have to wash your boat again. You just spray it and, every bit of blood, everything comes right off. And it's not quite, it's not some complete miracle product. You're still going to have to, put a mitt to it. But it creates a really, really low friction surface. The contact angle, which fancy word for water beading on your gel coat, is like fantastic. Water beads up like beautifully, especially right when you put it on, and things just tend to not want to stick to it. Some companies even claim that you can use it as a substitute for bottom paint. I've got I've had some horror stories about that, so I definitely don't tell anybody that. But what else? It is a lot more expensive. I mean, you're gonna it's a big investment. But that said, you're gonna if you want to really take care of your boat and keep the gel coat in prime condition, not let the oxidation get to it. If you're getting typical details like a wax, you're gonna have to get it waxed 4 times a year, and and you're gonna have to put in work in between that, making sure it's clean and stuff. So by the time all's said and done, after those 2 years of your ceramic protection is up, you're gonna have spent pretty much the same amount of money, but you got the headache of calling your detailer, scheduling time to maybe get your boat pulled out of the water. It's just less headache. So you're putting the investment up front with a lot less headache.
And I'm going to ask you one follow-up on the ceramic. So then after the 2-year period, I would reinvest. I would reapply another ceramic coating.
Yeah. And that pretty much once, you got a couple options. You could do something like a lot of companies, and this is something I offer as well. You could do like a plan where, once every year, you do like a ceramic specific polish and reapply the top coat. So, that's going to be a lot less expensive than, making sure all like everything is stripped off and, and reapplying your 2 coats. And, but yeah, if you want to, get to that 2 years, you're really going to want, the shine and the protection to be even, and you'll get it reapplied.
Well, man, we are coming to the end of our time together, but I definitely want to give you the audience for that last point, because I think it's a good one. How to care for your boat, how to best care for your boat after a detail, because detail is no small investment. And so we want to get the most out of our detail investment. So in the little bit of time we have left, man, what's the highlight reel of what we should do to best take care of a detail?
I really think, wash your boat at least once every 2 weeks. And that's just if you're not using it. If you're using it, just at least give it a spray down when you come in, and invest in a chamois. It's a little bit painstaking, but water spots are not good for your whatever sealant you have on your boat. They're hard to remove. So, that's the biggest thing. Wash your boat consistently. if you want to avoid oxidation, just maintain it. Wax once every 2 to 3 months, polymer sealant once every 6 months or so, ceramic coating. You get on a yearly plan with me or another company in town, or you can just have it done once every 2 to 3 years, and that'll help protect. Another thing is chemicals. Please, if you want to maximize the longevity of whatever sealant, including ceramic coatings, stay away from aggressive chemicals. Degreaser strips wax right off. Bleach, same thing. Acids, same thing. Even magic erasers, you can't really. They're a godsend to any boat owner, but I mean, same thing. They're still gonna strip your wax off, but that's why you got to reapply it every 2 to 3 months. Sun and breakdown and things like that.
And when
But
my
just
boat
be
needs
easy
more
on
than
chemicals.
rinsing, I'm using Dawn.
Yeah, Dawn will strip off everything, which is
All right.
great for pre-buffing, but definitely do not use Dawn. Get a boat soap that says pH balanced, like Starbright makes a product. West Marine, pretty much anything that's boat safe is going to be okay for your wax. And just don't over concentrate it. Just a capful for a gallon of water, a little bit more than that. That's my biggest tips. And don't use a stiff bristle brush on your gel coat. It's fine on the non-skid. You're going to have to use it there, but if you use it on your smooth, you might not be able to see the scratches, but you're putting scratches in your boat. So get a soft bristle, get the blue Surehold soft bristle brush, and you should be good if you want to brush your smooth.
Shane, to wrap this up, man, tell everyone how they would get in touch with you if they wanted more information or if they wanted to seek your services.
Yeah, so I'm most active on Instagram at Cape Fear Marine Detailing. Website is capefearmarinedetailing.com. You can find my contact info on both of those. I also have a Facebook. I'm trying to link up the Instagram and Facebook handles. For some reason, Instagram and Facebooks aren't talking together very well for me right now. But yeah, and email address, phone number, all that is on Instagram and website. So yeah, reach out anytime.
Man, Shane, thanks for your time. Thanks for your expertise. And, look forward to crossing your path soon in the future, man.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
You got it, Shane. Well, Billy, I'm not surprised. The bleach wash got ixnayed by Shane Wall. Ixnayed bleach wash, and I'm not surprised.
Oh man!
But what is Billy's best takeaway?
Well, for all you boat owners, wash your boat as often as you change your underwear, about every 2 weeks. All right. I mean, you paid all this money. Jesus, just take care of it, or hire Shane to take care of it. I mean, that's it. That's my takeaway. I'm over there like, God, this sounds like a lot of work, man. Buffing and scrubbing, and forget it. Just come over to the house and do whatever. Give you a case of beer and a tip. Let's go.
I wonder how low the percentage is of boat owners who wax their boat like every 3 months, or even 3 to 4. I'll give it that. But I wonder how low that percentile is. And they'll spend the big money on the detail, and they're told, man, take care of this, man. 3 months, man, you got to hit it again with wax. Man, they're not doing it. They're not doing it. I mean, a few are, maybe some retired dudes who would rather do that than spend time inside with their wife. But other than that, man, that boat's out there for the season.
All right, that's a challenge. Gary put you guys up to it. So if you're watching this and you're on YouTube, comment in the comments of how often do you maintenance your boat and clean it and all that fun stuff. That'll be fun to learn. So if you're watching, if you're listening, just send Gary an email. Just find out. He would love to be inundated with emails about, yes, I wash my boat, or no, I don't.
Email Terrell at Marine Warehouse Center. Let him know, and then he'll tell me.
Yeah, that's right. If he gets his AOL dial-up to work, he'll check those emails and let us know. Oh man.
Well, man, I tell you what, I think Shane did a great job, man. You could tell, man, that dude could go as technical as you wanted. I mean, he could have taken it way technical, knew his audience. I think he did a good job of relaying on, his insight. I appreciate what he did tonight.
Yeah, man, I absolutely agree. And it's a good time. And once again, if you don't have a boat, go to Marine Warehouse Center. They'll hook you up. They'll get you and they're going to hook you up. They're going to swipe that credit card or however they do their financing, but they'll get you a boat. And then if you need a job to pay for that boat, consider Bland Landscaping Co. as a career
Ooh.
change. Oh,
Nice sponsor support link. I like that.
See, that's why we get them connected. Like, there's no excuse why you don't have a boat anymore. We get you a job,
Right.
get you a boat. No big deal.
Bland will pay you, and then you just sign that check over to Marine Warehouse and Emmett. Man, they got you.
That's right. That's right. That's how it works. Well, Gary, it was great as always, man. Really appreciate you, and we'll see you in the next one.
Thanks, man.
Fisherman's